Okay, what they died for opened up in the Flash Sideways timeline with Jack and his son David eating breakfast, and it was really cute. Honestly, I really love this alternate timeline Jack. He's not a douchebag, and he's a pretty good dad, and he's just an all-around good guy. It looks like. I kind of hope that's the man he turns into be. I don't know. And then Claire walks in, and for 5 seconds I forgot she was visiting him, and I was like, "Oh my God, she's David's mom! She's David's." Never mind, that's not right. And so Jack gets a call from and he says they found Christian Shepherd's coffin, but it's actually Desmond trying to impersonate an Oceanic Airlines person who does it with a flawless American accent, I must say. Nice job. But anyway, we flash back to the beach, and Jack is stitching up Kate after getting shot by Woodmore's men, kind of like how she stitched him up in the pilot. And she's crying and talking about how Jen and Son had a daughter named Gian and that Jen never got to meet her. We all kind of went, God damn it, Kate. We're already sad enough that Son and Jen are dead. We already knew they had a kid. Don't go reminding us and making us be all emo again. Anyway, but she says that they have to kill him. They have to kill Fake Locke, and Jack agrees, and he says, I know. So then they're all just kind of staring out at the sea, all sad and emo and angsty, which I would be too, after losing Jen's son, Saeed, and all that in one setting. And it's just Kate leans her head on Sawyer's shoulder, and it's like, make up your fucking mind. Choose Sawyer or Jack. It's not this hard of an equation. I kind of hope you choose Jack at this point, because I really want Sawyer to be with Juliet. I don't know, maybe not in this timeline because she's dead and all, but I don't know. I just want them to be together. I love them together. Anyway, we go to the alternate timeline again, and we see Desmond looking at Locke like he's getting ready to run over him again. And Ben just jumps out of nowhere, and he's like, no, don't you dare. I'm going to call the police. I'm going to make a citizen's arrest. And Ben's just being so awesome because that's what he does. He's Ben. And Desmond freaks out and beats the shit out of him. And he's like, oh, you want to know who I am? You want to know who I am? And he beats him. And then that's what makes Ben flash to the original timeline where he's getting beat at the marina after he tried to kill Penny and Charlie. Which is funny that that's what makes Ben, because, he's constantly covered in blood and getting beaten. And then we figured out where Michael Emerson got his actual black eye, that scene. Anyway, I'm sorry, I have this really bad sinus infection. But anyway, we go to the original timeline again, and we finally get to see Richard, Ben, and Miles, who I'm going to nickname Team Awesome, because I love them all. And, they've been gone for three episodes. I don't know what the hell they've been up to. And then I'm just like, yay, they're finally here. Everything's going to be cool in this episode. So then they decide to get some explosives. And they decide to get enough so that they can blow the plane to shit, basically. And then they hear some wandering around in the kitchen. And they look out, and it's this Zoe fucking bitch again. God, I hate that whore. I just want her to die. And, which is kind of funny, because she will. But... and then Charles comes in and explains that Jacob came to him personally and that he'd already rigged the Ajira plane because he was usually 3 steps ahead of Ben, and Ben just gets all angry. And then Zoe interrupts and she's like, oh shit, Locke's coming. Fake Locke is coming, we better go. And Ben and Richard are like, well, let's just try and talk to him. Miles like, you guys can do that. I'm just gonna run through the jungle, which would be my reaction. I don't want to just talk with a cloud of black smoke. And anyway, sorry. So we go to the alternate timeline, and we see Desmond going in the police station, and Sawyer and Miles are talking about this concert at the museum where Miles' dad works. And he mentions Charlotte's going to be there, and Sawyer's like, oh, I'm probably going to pass then, because, he kind of screwed Charlotte over a few episodes ago. And Desmond shows up, and he's like, hey, I kind of ran over some dude, and I also beat a school teacher to shit. I'm here to turn myself in. So they throw him in a jail cell, and he's with Saeed and Kate, who I totally forgot were going to be in there. So they're all there. Interesting. And then we go through another flash sideways, and we see Ben, and he's talking to Mr. Locke after he got beat, and he was saying that this man was trying to help him, actually. And he found that kind of weird, and that he thought he saw something, but he decided not to go further, and Locke decided not to call the police. And we go to the original timeline, and we have... I'm sorry. We have Jack, Kate, and all of them walking around, and Sawyer was blaming himself for the deaths on the sub, and Jack was like, no, it's not your fault, it's the Man in Black's fault, which was kind of nice, even though Sawyer did pull the plug and ultimately caused it, but the Man in Black is the ultimate one responsible, and I want him to die for that, for killing Son and Jen and Saeed. Not cool. And Hurley sees baby Jacob, and he's like, give me my ashes, and he just goes, what? And he just takes him and runs, and then he sees grown-up Jacob by the fire, and he just asks where the ashes are, and he says, they're in that fire. When it goes out, you're never going to see me again. Huh? And then he just says, get your all your friends because I gotta talk to him. We're close to the end. And we're just like, stop reminding us. You think we've forgotten this? God damn it. But then we go to another flash sideways, and Ben's having trouble getting to his car because he's got a sling after being beat by Desmond. And Alex comes up and she's like, oh, let me help you now. Let my mom take you. Let me give you a ride. And he's like, oh, okay, I guess. And Danielle Russo shows up, and she's not crazy, and she actually looks pretty cute, and it's nice. And she says, well, they'll take, and she asks if, Alex asks if he can stay for dinner, and he's just like, no, that's too much. She says, don't worry, we'll do it. And she's like, no, we insist, even if we have to kidnap you, which is kind of funny. But, you know, they're cooking, and he's talking about what happened to Alex's dad, and she says, when he died when Alex was 2, and that's why she's so attached to you, because you're the closest thing she's ever had to a father. And Ben starts choking up, and he's like, oh, it's probably just the onions. She's like, oh, I'll put in less next time. I love Dr. Linus so much. He's so cute. I just love Michael Emerson, period. And I love Ben, period. You guys probably have already guessed that. Anyway. So we'll go back to Jacob, and they're by the fire, and he's explaining that they need to protect the island, and that's why he brought them all there, so that they could protect him, and that thing, that smoke monster, he created that. And he's been trying to kill him ever since, and he knew that he would die one day, so he had to find a replacement. And so he took them all, and you know, he took them out, and Sawyer's like, oh, so you just took us all away? And he goes, well, you didn't have anything to live for anyway. I just took you because you all had pathetic lives, and you were all broken, and you all needed this island. Which, the more I think about it, the more I think he was actually right. I mean, there were probably people who died in the oceanic flight that did have a nice life, but it sucks for them. And Kate's just wondering, you know, well, why did Sun and Jin die? I refuse to believe this shit, which kind of was my reaction. I was kind of saying go for Kate. Then she decided to go all me, and ask why her name was crossed off the cave. And he says because she became a mother, but that it was just a line through her name, and if she wanted the job, it was hers. Which people were kind of, you know, like, well, Sawyer's a dad, you know, why wasn't he? And it's like, but, you know, Kate was actually in Aaron's life, and she really did love Aaron, and she really did care for him, and I think that's what he meant, that she had something that she wanted to live for. You know, and that she was a part of his life, and she didn't want the island, which is why he crossed her name out, not just because she was a mom, because she was a woman. But anyway, we see the lock monster come in, and he asks, you know, where Charles Widmore is, and Ben says he's hiding in the closet, which is kind of funny, because for those of us with their minds in the gutters, me, namely. So he goes in to talk to him, and Charles tells Zoe not to say anything, and then Locke just slits her throat, and I think all of us did some kind of happy dance, and we were like, yes, this fucking bitch is dead! And he's like, well, why did you do that? And she was like, because you told her not to talk, so she was pointless. And we were like, yep, he pretty much speaks the truth. And then he asks, you know, why he brought Desmond back. And he says, well, because he has a unique resistance to electromagnetism, I brought him back to do something. But he refuses to tell any more in front of Ben. So Locke's like, well, just whisper it in my ear. And I was hoping that it was dirty sex talks, honest, dirty sex thoughts. And then Ben just shoots the hell out of him. He says he doesn't get to save his daughter. And he's like, well, you never cease to amaze me, Ben. Never cease to amaze us either, Ben. I love you. Anyway, we go back to Jacob and them. And he explains that one of them's got to protect the island. So then Jack stands up and he's like, well, I'll do it. You know, it's my destiny. That's why I'm here. And, you know, the others don't object. And he takes him to the stream and he does an incantation over the cup. And he gives it to him to drink. And he says, now you're like me. I really hope Jack doesn't turn out to be the protector of the island. Honestly, that's way too cliche. And, you know, my cousin and I have this bet that it's going to be Hurley. But I don't want it to be Jack. It's just too, I don't know. For a show that has so many plot twists, that's just too, I don't know, too expected, let's just say. So then, anyway, we end with, in the Flash Sideways timeline, Desmond manages to break them all out of jail, and he tells them they're going to go to a concert. And Ana Lucia helps break him out of jail because she's apparently a dirty cop. So I guess everyone in the world is going to be at this concert. I might as well go, since apparently there's going to be a lot of hot angsty guys. And then we end with Fake Locke telling Ben that he knows Desmond got out and that's okay because he needs him because he's going to destroy the island. Great episode, set up for the finale, which I'm totally not ready for. I'm going to have to get off because it's almost at the 10-minute time, but just good job, Carlton and Damon. I trust you guys that it's going to be awesome, and thanks for 6 great years. Talk to you guys next week.